All right. Okay, just adjusting the camera there for the big show. Okay, pardon me there. So we're doing our. This is Ray. I promised a surprise, so we got Ray. And you know what? I'm still not happy with that camera angle. So just hang on a second there. Let me move that up and down, and there we go. Okay. So, okay. Let's see. Want to make sure we're doing the right thing here. I think we got people on the wrong video. We had some technical problems. So, gonna try to fix that here. All right. Videos live. We need to get rid of that one. Sorry, just a second here. Ray, why don't you sing us a song?
Oh no.
No, it's not your cup of tea.
No, no, not even karaoke.
Okay, well, let's see what we got here. All right.
I want to listen to my door alarm go off.
Okay, sorry. Hello, Tom Knott. Thanks for joining us. Well, I hope other people get in. I had another video ready to go, and there were just some technical issues, and it kind of. I'm not terribly savvy at this sort of thing, the live streaming. So we're still trying to get it, to go correctly here. But we're here today. I'm here with Ray, and with whom I played a lot of these top 30 games with that I've been talking about. And we're going to go ahead. We're going to discuss some of our favorite games, our top 10 games rather, of 2023. I've been doing the last couple of nights, the rest of my top 30. Before we get started, Ray, do you have? Are there any honorable mentions or anything you'd like to talk about before we jump right into it?
I got a couple honorable mentions I'll throw down.
Okay.
One, I know you've already covered.
Okay.
And actually today, I'm sorry, but today it bumped out of my top 10 for something else.
Oh, okay.
So, but it's the Barracks Emperor.
Yeah, Barracks Emperor.
Which, throw it up here.
Yeah.
So you guys can all see it.
Yeah.
I absolutely love this game. It's phenomenal. And I think the only reason this fell from my top 10 is because I think this game shines at 4. And that's about the only way I'd want to play
it. And we played it at 3.
We played it at 3.
And it was good. It was fun.
Yes.
Really fun. But I agree. It's with 4 players, you get the full effect, right?
Even with 2, it would be okay.
Yeah.
But with 4, it would just, that's where this game would shine. So,
I entirely agree.
But other than that, this game is absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, that's a great game.
And another one that you covered already, which is Earth.
Earth. Yeah. Oh, yeah, right here.
I think Earth was absolutely phenomenal as well.
Earth.
Throw that one right there.
Yeah. What did you like about Earth?
You know, this game is really good. I really like the tableau building on it. I think the more you understand and know the different cards, the better the game actually gets.
Right.
It's just a really good game. It's not one of my best favorite types of games.
Well, it's certainly not a game in my genre wheelhouse, but yeah.
But neither is half the games that I play for with you.
That's true.
So,
you know, I got to tell you too, though, I think maybe some of the same thing the Barracks Emperors here. We've only played this together 2-player, and it's fun. But I suspect this would probably shine at a higher player count because everybody else would do those things that triggers everybody else at the board.
I think what I mean? It's that whole race for the galaxy mechanic. I do this, everybody else gets to do a lesser version type thing.
Yeah.
I really like that mechanic. But the tableau building and figuring everything where it's all going to go, it's really good. I really enjoy it.
I think so. I think it's a phenomenal game, and I really like it. Go ahead.
And I just want to do one fast shout out because I absolutely love it. I got it last year, but Castles of Burgundy Special Edition.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not gonna. That's why it's not my top 10 because that game has been around forever. And
you're right.
The new deluxe edition, the special edition that came out. Oh my gosh!
Well, my feeling here is, and this you can do whatever you want to do. I am actually allowing for older editions, provided there are significant rules changes.
Okay.
If there's a significant rules change, you can just go ahead and set it.
What about if it's been out of print for forever and a day?
Yeah, that's fine. I don't care. You know, whatever. It's your list.
It's my list.
Okay, so I know we got here. War Table said you were talking about Star Trek. Have you watched Star Trek Continues on YouTube? You know, I haven't. I've heard good things about it, but no, that's not one that I've really paid much attention to. Okay. Anything else you want to cover before we get into it?
Nope.
Or are you ready to go? Okay.
Nope, I'm good.
So I'll go first, and start with my number 10. Now, my number 11. I know you were all watching with bated breath last night, as were you. Do you remember what my number 11 was?
Plum Island
The
Horror.
Plum Island Horror. Great game, the Plum Island Horror. But I said Herman Luttman might come back. Well, so my number 10 here of all time, and I got them under a blanket here, so they're hidden from my good friend Ray, is Vive l'Empereur. Oh. And this is a solitaire game. I've just played it recently, but it is phenomenal. It's a hex encounter solitaire game of the Battle of Waterloo, and I'm a sucker for Waterloo games, sucker for learning about that battle. And this is just phenomenal because you're the French, and you're attacking the Allies, the Prussians, and the British. And what you're doing is it's a chit pull, which like core you're activating, and you can move all the units in a core. But then if you pull one of the British units, there's an AI. You roll die to see what those British units in that particular core do to you. It says like they advance upon the highest, the strongest French unit within range or something like that. And it's really, really fun. And then, like, if you activate Blucher, you pull his, you kind of move up the time. You roll to determine whether or not you'll move up the time for his corps to come on the battlefield and kind of hit Napoleon on the flank. And it's really, really fun. This has become one of my favorite solitaire games. I'll tell you right now, one of my favorite hex encounter war games. It's just fantastic. That's Vive l'Empereur, and I will have a full review for this coming up in a few weeks. But love Vive l'Empereur. Wow. That is my number 10. That's from Blue Jaguar. It's a new company, I believe. I've not heard of them before. Herman Luttman design, my number 10. All right.
Very nice.
It is. It's a great game. What's your number 10?
So my number 10 is actually the game that took the Barracks Emperor out.
Okay.
And I got thinking about it, and the more I think about this game, the more I play this game, the more I like this game.
Okay.
I love stories and games, and I'm not a take that kind of gamer type person.
Right.
Sometimes I just want to play a game every now and then where you just beat your opponent up.
Yeah, sure.
It's chaos. You don't know what's going on. It's just, I don't even know how to describe it.
I got you.
Okay, but you just want to put something on the table. You want to hoot. You want to holler. You want to yell.
You want to laugh too.
You do want to laugh, but sometimes when everything's said and done, you just want a little vengeance.
Oh, okay. All right.
And that vengeance is going to throw down a little vendetta.
Oh, yeah.
So
I have not played that one.
Thunder Road Vendetta. Man, I got to say, Restoration Games bringing this one back. I always wanted to play this one years back, and I never got a chance to. So as soon as this came back, I instantly got it all. And this game is so much fun. I love the simplicity of this game because the cool thing about this game is, you can set it up. You have your 3 different cars. You have your helicopter.
Right.
So every car's got its own tile. You have dice for those tiles. So you're rolling dice to see which one you're going to activate. And ultimately, the winner is whoever gets off the last track.
Right.
Wins. But it's kind of a sliding track. So if you go off the last track, they'll slide down. And any cars on the end track, well, they're just out of the game.
Oh, okay.
So there is player elimination in the game.
Right.
If you're on that track, there's drivers. And they can get special powers. You can get special modifications for your car. But the cool thing is, if you want to play this with kids, it's 10 and under, but you can play this with 6-year-olds or whatever.
Yeah.
Because all you're doing is you're eliminating all that stuff, put cars on the board, and just say, go, race, get to that end. If a guy wants to go hit another car, bump him off, and he's going to bounce into another car, which is going to go into a hazard, which is going to bounce another car and fling you off the road, and everyone's yelling and screaming.
Right.
It's chaos. It's fun. If you win the game, great. If you lose the game, who really cares?
Right.
Destroyed someone else. It's just so much fun.
That sounds great. No, was this a Kickstarter?
This was totally a Kickstarter.
Okay, yes. And then what about player count? Like, what's the ideal player count for it?
So the player count's 2 to 5. I have not played this with more than 3. Okay. I think 3 is actually a really good number. I think 2's a little less. 2's a little light.
Okay.
Because with 2 players, 1 player can run away. With 3 players, it's not as apt to happen. With 4 players, you can't even move a car without bumping into somebody. It's just carnage.
I'll bet.
Just
because that's been on a lot of people's best of the year, and not one that I played. I was actually at like Barnes and Noble the other day, and they had the retail copy there.
Yes.
I was tempted, but
It's fun. We'll get it to the table.
Yeah, definitely, for
We'll
sure.
get it to the table. We'll get
And that's
a couple people.
Restoration?
Restoration Games.
All right, Restoration Games. That's your number 7. Why don't you go ahead and give us your number 9?
All right, my number 9 is a game I don't even know if you know exists, but I like some worker placement game. I like some heavy worker placement games.
All right.
And one of my favorite worker placement designers is Vital Lacerda, and I really like Bot Factory.
That's another one I've heard good things about. Yeah.
So Bot Factory is basically Kanban simplified.
Yeah.
It's a simpler version. I mean, I love Kanban. Kanban is hilarious, or not hilarious. It's just a great game. It's a great worker placement game. Kanban EV is even heavier. This just takes everything down to your Bot Factory. It's more or less the same formula as those two games, but a little light on the rules. But still, you still get that full gameplay, and this play is actually really, really good solo as well.
Oh, okay.
So it's one of those games that I can get to the table by myself. I can get to the table with 2, 3, 4 players. It is so much fun. I absolutely love it. Vital Lacerda is one of my favorite designers. His games are just heavy.
I know you've talked about it before. I don't know that I played anything by him. But...
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. That
really,
sounds
really
like a fun one. Because like I say, I've heard that several people put that on their list too for the year. So it's pretty popular.
You know, and the cool thing about this, it's worker placement, but you have one worker.
Yeah.
You're going to go from this tile to another tile. Figure out where you're going to go. So it's a different take on the worker placement genre. A little bit. And there's plenty of spaces. You're not really going to get locked out of places. For the most part. But it's a really good game. It's a really good puzzle, and it's fun. I think it's a blast. I have fun every time I play it.
Excellent. All right. So that's, who does it? Eagle-gryphon?
Eagle-gryphon Games.
Okay.
Number 9.
Number 9. Bot Factory. Very good. We've got, let's see, Vendetta is boring. Cars are fast. Games on board. Car games on board games. Somebody didn't care for it here. That's Mo. He didn't care for it.
There's some people that don't. I've seen people just race way ahead, and they thought they were going to win, and all of a sudden somebody gets the right card combination. They get up there and just totally destroy them. Send your helicopter up. Take them out.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. We got. I do enjoy your videos. Your talks are always very helpful and easy to keep it up. Thank you, David. And Thunder Road looks pretty cool from Tom. I'm so bummed I didn't pull the switch on Thunder Road when it was on Kickstarter. Yeah, from everything everybody's talking about, just looking at it, I kind of wish I had too. I had no idea. I'd never even heard of that game before. I wasn't even aware of it until people started talking about it on their lists here. All right, let me go ahead and do my number 9. My number 9 is a game that we've played it a couple of times, you and I.
Okay.
I played it before when I was in Wyoming. I got it when I was in Wyoming. But this is a game with a pretty strong IP. Something we actually already mentioned earlier here today. And this is Star Trek Away Missions. Star Trek Away Missions from Gale Force 9. This is a game that, this is a game that it's a miniatures game. But it's a card game, really. Fundamentally, it feels like you're playing a card game where the minis just kind of interact with everything on the board for you. And but I really like it. The main factions here are the Federation and the Borg. There are already 2 Klingon expansions and a Picard expansion and a Romulan expansion, and some more expansions coming up. But it's great. Speaking of this, to me, this feels like this kind of has a lot of take that in it too, because you're like. You can, somebody attacks you, but then you play a thing that somehow, like, I don't know, they drop their phaser and hit themselves. I mean, not literally, but stuff like that, So there's a lot of, I think, really fun and interesting interaction in this game. It's pretty fast paced. Sometimes some of the rules can be a little clunky, it seems like, but generally, I'm really enjoying Star Trek Away Missions. I think this is going to go down as one of the great Star Trek games, and I'm hoping that we see, so far they've just got like the one setting, the Battle of Wolf 359. I'm hoping we see some more settings, more bigger boxes instead of just the faction expansions that maybe take it to new locations, new eras, those sorts of things. I think that would be really a lot of fun. I know that they've got the Q tournament stuff out there. I haven't seen any of that, but anyway, really like Star Trek. Any of your thoughts on this one?
Oh, no, this is a fantastic. The thing I like the most about this game is every faction plays so different.
Yeah.
Because
it's like the Klingons are all about honor and glory and battle and combat. The Romulans are real sneaky and espionage. The Federation, like with Picard, he's all about negotiation and diplomacy.
Picard likes his chair. That's what I've noticed about
Picard.
Picard.
He does. He does
likes
like
the bridge
missions.
And he likes his chair.
He likes the command missions for sure. Wonder why. But anyway, great game. Gale Force 9.
Wonderful.
That is Star Trek Away Missions. And that's my number 9, as I say. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'll do my number 8.
Mhm.
Before I do, let's see. Solo board games. I just received Heat, so I am looking forward to giving a board game racer a try. You introduced me to Heat, and that was a 2022 game. You introduced that to me. I played it. We played it a couple of times. I went out. I bought it.
Mhm.
At some point, I want to do a full review of it. I don't know when we'll get to it because I got so many games. But at some point, I want to do a full review on that because it is such a good game.
Next month, there's actually an expansion.
Yeah.
New track, another player color.
Yeah, I'll be picking that up for sure. Yeah,
you bet.
And I haven't even touched most of what the base game can do either. But okay, I bought this one based on your review. Not played it yet though. Which one? Star Trek, probably. And Star Trek is well, depends on what you think there. And one thing I just want to mention too. I had an eye exam this morning, and my eyes are still funky. So I'm kind of having to work to read the stuff here. There's supposed to be like 40 games coming out this year. Going to be a lot of games. We'll talk about that toward the end about stuff we're looking forward to. All right, let me do my number. We're at my number 8, right? Because I just did my number 9. 8. All right, now this is my number 8 is a game. I'll tell you right now, I haven't played it much, maybe a couple of games earlier this year. And this is a bit of an anomaly for games I like because I am not known, nor do I enjoy typically heavy Euros. I'm not a heavy Euro guy. Mm-hmm. And the reason why I don't like heavy Euros is most of them lack theme. Most of them I find lack strong theme. They tend to be just mathy. Okay, if I do this, I can get so many points. If I do this, I can get so many points. And I really, really like strong themes. I like the escapism that games bring, and I like the stories that games can tell. But this is a heavy, heavy Euro. In fact, one of the heaviest Euros, one of the biggest learning curves I've ever played. And it is incredibly thematic and tells a fantastic story. So this game is...
Why is it not coming to my brain?
Hegemony, lead your class to victory.
Because I've never played it.
You've never played this one. No. In fact, I haven't played this since I've been here in Idaho. I just played this in Wyoming.
I heard a lot of good about it.
It's fantastic. It's incredibly thematic. You know, we were the we were playing it those first time, and I was the workers. You know, and I got to tell you something, not to get political or anything, but I'm as far as you can be from a socialist. But I was playing this game, and I'm like, holy crap, you know, I take down the capitalists and stuff. It was so much fun because, like, you know, my buddy Nate, he was like the capitalist, and he's like got a strategy. He's got something he's working for. And he's like, okay, I'm only going to pay you guys this much. I'm like, well, I'm not going to work for you if you're only paying that much. And so I start taking my workers away from him, and he was livid. He was, you got to come back. You got to work. I'm like, I'm not working for you until you pay me something worth it. But if I go back, it's going to destroy his profits, which is like his victory conditions and stuff. So anyway, tremendous fun. It's asymmetrical, and you really, and one of the reasons this has not gotten to the table much is because, like I say, huge learning curve. It's not easy to learn. It's not easy to teach, but it's an incredibly rewarding game. It's a long game. It's a deep game. It's a complex game, but there is so much here. And it is really fun. It is really, really fun. Anyway, Hegemony, lead your class to victory. That is from Hegemonic Project. I know they're coming out with like another game on like international relations that supposedly should be like this depth of complexity. I was actually talking with some of the. They sent me this copy, and I know at one point they was actually asking me to, because they work with academics. They were asking me if I wanted to help on that, and I said I'd like to, but I'm just so busy. But anyway. Great game. So that's my number 8. All right, what do you got?
My number 8 is actually one that you have already had on your list. So I don't need to introduce it too much. It was your number 16. It is my number 8, but it is the British Way.
The British Way.
That
the
one
British
right
Way. What do you like about the
Coin
British
game.
Way?
So this is the first coin game I've actually ever played as well.
Mm-hmm.
And this game was so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it wasn't as hard to learn as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I know. It looks like a bear, doesn't it?
Oh, I know. I thought this was going to be nasty to learn when I started reading the rule book. But then once you start putting all the pieces down on the board, it wasn't that bad.
And you realize how things come together and how the systems work.
It does take the both different sides. The cool thing about this is it's a coin game and it's 2-player.
Mm-hmm.
And you do get 4 games in one. And each one of them plays so different. But the thing is each side plays totally different as well.
Yeah, they're asymmetrical.
And you really have to learn how each one of those sides plays. And the first time you play it, you're going to play it wrong. You're not going to play it right. So, but for a coin game, this is, I think, if you've never played a coin game, I think this is one of the best ways to get into it.
Yeah, this is so far it's the only one I played. They sent me a couple more. As soon as we can get 4 players, I think we need to hit them. But they are, but that British Way is fantastic.
British Way. Oh no, this is absolutely a fantastic game. But my number 8, your number 16.
Yeah. So you liked it twice as much as I did, I guess.
I probably played half as many games last year as you did too.
Yeah. But that is, like I said, that's another GMT game, and GMT just is rocking it this year, as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, hands down.
Sorry, girlfriend, can't talk to you. Anyway, so what? Okay, so that was your 8. What is your 7?
Okay, number 7. You're gonna have to dig out for me because I cannot find it on your shelf. Okay. I do not own it.
I think I know what it is. Can I guess?
You can guess.
Apiary?
Oh gosh, no.
Oh, okay.
Oh, not even remotely halfway close.
All right.
I'm just gonna tell you the name of the game and then I'll start talking about it. But it's Freezing Inferno.
Oh yeah. It's up there. It's behind the camera, so I don't want to knock the camera.
No, okay.
But yeah.
Freezing Inferno. I can't remember who it. And for the life of me, my brain is just dying on this one. But it's it's a hex and tile game or hex encounter game.
Yeah.
And it is it's
a Finnish army and the Soviets.
The Finnish and the Russians. That's what it was.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just basically the Finnish basically have their troops scattered all over the place. And then the Russians are setting up there.
Well, what's cool is the setup. You can have these cards, draw these cards to say what the Russian setup's going to be, what the Finnish setup's going to be.
Right, and then they also have just a whole bunch of different scenarios you can play. So once you get the game set up, then it's basically the Finnish have already won the game when the game starts, and it's up to the Russians to go ahead and take over the game. The Russians have to go and they have to take over 3 different cities, however they want to do it. But just between your tanks, your planes, and everything moving around, I had so much fun. That was actually one of the first hex encounter games that we played.
You know what I like about it too is like from the Russian perspective. Well, I guess from the Finnish perspective too. When you're down there by Helsinki, it's a slog because they got all their defenses. The Finnish have all their defenses there, so it's a slog to get through. And then when you go further up in the along the border, there's more room for maneuver, and there's more. And what's cool is because you were destroying my headquarters left and right, and when your headquarters gets destroyed, it significantly impairs your ability to move and to engage in other. Anyway, but great fun.
No, it's like I said, that was one of the first ones I played, and it was just so much fun.
It's pretty intense, and I like that one too because it almost has shades of Axis and Allies, where you've got the money economy. You get money that you can buy reinforcements with and bring the reinforcements on, and it was just real. I thought well thought out and well executed and a good production.
Oh yeah, and there's so many scenarios. The replay on that game is absolutely ridiculous.
Mm-hmm,
you can play it so many different times, so many different ways, all kinds of. The setup is just great. Really, 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 really good.
And that was
Freezing Inferno by
Princeps.
Gigamech Games.
Gigamech? I thought it was Princeps Games.
It might be a combination.
All right. Well,
Gigamech was on the box.
Okay. Well, I know Princeps.
Yeah, I think it's
something to
both.
do with it. Okay, probably is. All right. Let's look here. Let's look at the 40 Hegemony is the worst game of the year. Mo. If you're just coming up here to shit on our games, I'm not happy with you. Sorry, girlfriend, can't talk to you. Talk about games. Story of my life. All right, gotta have priorities. Cuba Libre is a great place to start with coin. Cuba Libre. Okay, as soon as we can, we're gonna try to get it. We're gonna really try to do it. Okay. All right. So now that was
my number 7.
7. So now it's my 7. Okay. My 7, let me remember what it is. Oh, yes. This is another fantastic game, another war game. It has hexes, but it's not a traditional hex encounter game. And it's from a large family of games that are very popular, and it's probably no surprise this one was going to make the list. This is Undaunted, Battle of Britain. Now, have you played this one yet?
No. I own it, but I've not played it.
Okay, yeah. Because I know we played the 4-player Undaunted Normandy a few weeks ago at your place, and that was a lot of fun. But Undaunted Battle of Britain, so this came out earlier this year, and this is awesome. I mentioned Fighters of the Pacific last time, and somebody asked, well, how does this compare with Undaunted Britain? They're both phenomenal. I think they're both phenomenal. I give the edge to this one One thing I like about both of them is they both have different ways of rewarding staying in contact with your squadron, right? Maintaining cohesion. Because if you get too far away, um, you get kind of the useless cards, and it becomes harder to do things effectively. But when you're close, when you're adjacent, or at least one space away from each other, you can, or two spaces away from each other, you can still do everything you want to do. But it's never going to happen. You're going to have to turn. You're going to have to bank. But it's a fantastic deck building war game, and I freaking love these, and I love the whole series. I'm about 2/3 of the way through now of Stalingrad, the campaign with Kim. So anyway, I freaking love Undaunted, and this one is awesome. There's a ton of scenarios in here. I think there's 10 scenarios. They're different. Sometimes you're going after ships. Sometimes it's just eliminate the enemy. Sometimes you're trying to bomb places. Anyway, really like it. I hope you get a chance to do this. Maybe we can hit it one night too.
Oh, yeah.
It's great. I don't know if I like it as much as some of the others. I probably like it better than North Africa, but maybe not as much as Stalingrad or Normandy. But anyway, Osprey Games. That's my number 7, Battle of Britain. Let's see now. That was my 7, so now we got my number 6. Okay, my number 6. We've been singing the praises of a little company called GMT. This one is from GMT. This is one I played
GMT, so good.
earlier this year. And you didn't play much GMT before you met me, right?
I'm not sure I played a single GMT game before I met you.
But you played a lot of GMT games.
And they are phenomenal. They are slowly becoming one of my favorite.
They're great.
Publishing companies.
So GMT, this is one I played, and this is kind of a sequel to an earlier game, which I really loved a lot. I like this one better. This is Ancient Civilizations of the Middle East. Oh. Ancient Civilizations of the Middle East. This is a game about, speaking of Take That, this looks like it is a regular run-of-the-mill civilization builder, right? No. This is has kind of the facade of civilization building, but fundamentally it's how can you screw over everyone else. Now, you do have combat, you do have stuff like that, but you get these different cards, but you may get an event card that says, there's a barbarians in some part of the world, and you can select who else is playing there. You get barbarians, and they have to suddenly put all these barbarians on their board. But what I like too is component-wise, it's pretty simple. You've got these little discs that you use for everything. Discs are your currency. They are used to mark advances on certain cards. They're your cities. They're your armies. They're just really. It's a real simple economy of components. But the only thing is with this, you want a higher player count. I would say 5 to 6 is what you want. Bear in mind, if you play the whole game, it will be a very long game. But you can play shorter scenarios. But it's so much fun. This is a game that, when you play with your friends, you laugh and you laugh and you laugh because you're constantly cutting each other's legs off. And it's so much fun. But at the same time, you do have some of the traditional props of a civilization builder. You're building wonders. You're expanding. It's great stuff. This is really a fun one. And it's got a little bit more variety, I think, than its earlier version of Middle Sea, which is the Mediterranean. Really like Ancient Civilizations of the Middle East, GMT games. That is my number. What are we on? 7?
Number 7.
Yeah. Okay.
6.
That's my number 6?
Yes.
All right. My number 6. Very good. Let's see. Now it's you, right? Yeah, you're number 6.
All right.
Number 6.
So my number 6 is more on the lighter side.
Oh, one second here. Let me see what we got.
All right.
Cody, I want to buy some of the Undaunted games, but I don't have an easy way to play with others. Heard not so great solo. Really enjoyed the reviews. Thank you. I was not a fan of the solo. Have you played the solo?
I looked at it and I was going to start playing it, and then I'm like, no, I want another body.
It left me cold. The solo left me cold. Yeah. I was not a huge fan of that one.
It's definitely one that's hands down would be more fun 2-player.
So
that interaction.
So I was down in Texas. And I'd had some interactions with David Thompson, the designer, and he had told me they were going to come out with this reinforcements. And he said it's going to have 4-player and it's going to have solo. I was super excited for solo. I was like, okay, 4-player, whatever. When I got it, I played 4-player, fell in love with it. My favorite way to play it. It's a great way to play the game. And then the solo, I just was like, solo's not that good.
Yeah.
So anyway, So there's that.
I'll agree with that 4-player count.
It's a different game, and it's so much fun.
It is, and you and your partner are constantly working off each other.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and who's going first is going to depend upon when you play your commander. And
yeah.
Oh no, it's great.
Well, I like team games generally, and that one does it very well. Very well.
Yeah, I agree.
Let's see. Have Undaunted BOB, but you have yet to play? Well, you need to do it. Undaunted is such a great system. Not sure about the space one that is coming up. The system, wow.
Oh no, space one. That's going to be my favorite.
Oh, I'm looking forward to it.
I know that's going to be my favorite right now.
I mean, well, I'll wait and play it because I love science fiction too. But I like World War II, so I'll probably play it on the merits of the system.
Right.
Undaunted BOB and Stalingrad are great. Not a fan of the other two. I think Normandy's great, especially as I say with the expansion stuff. Okay. Undaunted on your wish list. Hope you get it. All right, you're number 6.
Okay, so my number 6, it's a new game this year, but it's not a new game in the line of games.
Okay.
But it's really it's on the lighter side of games. But it's one that I have so much fun every single time I play it. It doesn't matter which version of these games that I play, but it is Horrified Greek Monsters.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely love the Horrified series. I can play it with so many different people. It's a nice cooperative game, so it's easy. I've gotten so many non-gamers into gaming because of Horrified, because it's so simple. And it takes me like 5 minutes to teach the game, and within 10 minutes, everybody's on their own doing their thing, and it's just so good. The cool thing I like about Greek Monsters is the fact that it's the same Horrified system, but it's a different map and it's different puzzles.
Right.
You know, it's different ways to win. Of course, some of the monsters are easier than other, but I really like the whole Greek theme.
Yeah.
Which is really cool. I actually prefer the Greek over I do the B movie horror thing.
The American Monsters, or
yeah, I like the Greek mythology better.
No, I got you.
You know,
well, so because I'm totally with you. I haven't played Greek Monsters. I've got the other two. I keep thinking I got to pick up Greek Monsters, but
it's worth it.
I love the classic movie monsters of the original. But I think I like the mini games of American Monsters better. I think they're a little bit more fun for me. I haven't played that, so I can't comment. But it's funny you talking about getting people into the hobby, because that it's so true. You can play that. It's such an easy game. It's cooperative, so you can teach people. It's not a hard game to learn, not a hard game to get into, and it grabs you. And it's tense, and it's fun, and it's a great experience. I actually, when I moved back to Utah briefly a few years ago, I was dating a lot. I was a dating fool because they couldn't stand to go out on more than one date with me. But I got a lot of times, second or third date, I say, hey, you want to play a board game? And they're like, sure, what? I said, well, and I'd bring that, and they would love it. So it was fun stuff. Great game.
Never found anybody that did not like it. As a matter of fact, this particular one right here, one of the guys in my my other game group, he had to borrow this over the whole Christmas break to play with his family.
Oh, yeah.
They've got the original, but he wanted this one as well, and they just absolutely love this game.
Yeah. I have a niece in, she was in Guam. She's in Australia now, but 1 year for Christmas, I sent that to her and her family, and I guess they got in a big argument because they couldn't decide, how to go after the different monsters. Anyway, fun stuff.
Super fun.
All right, so that's your number 6. What's your number 5?
Okay, so my number 5, I do not own a copy of it. You have a copy of it, and I don't know where it is, but I'm pretty sure it is under that blanket that you have right over there.
Okay,
it is Dire Wolf Games, and it is Dune Imperium.
Uprising. Oh, okay. Yeah, it could be.
So I got nothing. No, so the Dune Imperium, I actually really like Dune Imperium. It's a fantastic game. I've never played none of the expansions of the original game. I've heard they're super, super good, but I just really like the core game. Everybody I've played it with really likes the core game as well. One of these days I'm going to get them. We played the new Uprising, and it's got the same feel of the original game with extra stuff.
Yeah.
So you already know how to play the game when you set it up. All you got to do is look up 1 or 2 different rules. And the map, actually, the thing I like about the map, and I like this one better than the original. And the reason I like it better is because I think the map of the core game actually opens up just a hair more. Gives you a little more selection. And you're not locked out of different things quite as much, if I remember correctly.
Right.
But just super fantastic game. A couple new mechanics, really good. But yeah.
Well, it almost feels like Uprising has the we're on 5, right? That's your number 5.
That's number 5.
Well, guess what? My number 5 is
right on. Dune Imperium. Right on.
Yeah, it's my 5 too. So there we go. So Dune Imperium. is
this game is so
I
good.
think that's cool. We have a crossover on the same thing. So Dune Imperium, it feels almost like the regular Dune Imperium with an expansion baked into it. You know,
Yeah, exactly.
It takes, like you say, it takes what's there, and it just kind of gives you a little bit more of it. The spies are really cool. The Chome stuff that you can play with is optional. I'd always play with it.
Oh yeah.
I think that's good. No, I think the wall, the wall, and the way you can break through the walls. Everything about it is superior, and the car plays superior. And it's kind of one of those things where, my initial impression was, well, you can keep both, but now I'm kind of wondering, yeah, but do I need both? Because I'm probably just going to reach for this, and they both work well with the expansions, which I think are both awesome. I love both of the expansions. So I don't know. I at some point I may dump the original. The problem is I got the original in the deluxe box, so I'm gonna have to clear that out and put Dune Uprising in the deluxe box. But I don't know. I don't even. It hurts my head to think about it right now. But
oh yeah,
such a fun game. Such a clever use of deck building and worker placement, and and combat and direct conflict.
Yeah.
So it's really the ultimate hybrid. And
honestly, one of the things I think I like about this one better is, in the first one, to me, it seemed like combat was way more important. In the core game, it was way more important to winning.
Yeah.
Because you're going to get a lot of victory points. I mean, you can go up the side tracks.
Yeah.
And you can get your victory points there, but winning those combats was really, really critical to
win
the game. I didn't feel that as much in this one.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. Because I felt like combat's pretty dang important.
Well, no, it is, but it's like it's just dropped a hair. It's
all right.
You can get enough victory points other ways.
All right.
So I don't know. That's just kind of I don't own the game yet.
Yeah.
So I haven't been able to look at it as much, but no,
it's great. I love it. It's a fun game. I think. And I should point out, I've only played it 2-player a few times with the app, which acts as like the third. You can use cards. You don't have to use an app. I usually use the app. I think it shines at 3 or 4 though.
Oh no, I agree.
Yeah, great game. Get
a lot of people.
Okay, let's see what we got going on. Horrified isn't 2023. Greek Monsters was. Hello from Dallas. Hey, I love Dallas. I lived there for years. Great place. I lived in Denton actually. Game's pretty fun, but too easy, even with 5 monsters. Not the system, but the Greek one. Okay. Hey, Cody, and all late to the party. Hi, Kabuki Kid. Glad to see you. Good friend of ours. It is a great game to introduce people to new board games. It is.
That's one of the reasons why it's always so high on my list.
Catch the Freudian slip. Normal group. Friends. Greek is probably great to play with some Clash of Titans or Sinbad on the big screen. There you go. Dune. Have yet to play Uprising, but I've heard is more combat focused than even the original game. See, Kabuki agrees with me. What's your favorite faction? Mine is Fremen. In Dune Imperium? I mean, I don't know. It's not like in regular Dune where you specifically play the factions. So, you mean the spaces on the board? I don't know. The guild's pretty dang powerful. Although it seems I think the guild is less powerful in Uprising than it was in the original. Let's see. Is it true that the plan is to make Dune Uprising for each film, so there will be 3 base game Uprising? I don't know. I've heard people say that. To me, that sounds more like a lot of speculation that they're going to make 3 for each film, because the third film, I don't even know if the third film's been greenlit yet, technically. So I don't know, which I hope they do. I always felt like Dune Messiah was the natural end to that story, so I hope they do make that. I haven't played the board game, but have seen the video that came out in 2023, and it's great. I've seen a few vids on the board game. Looks fun. It is fun. Let the spice flow, baby. Okay. Dune Imperium ended up being a great game. Yeah, the original Dune game is awesome too, and Gale Force 9 reprinted that, and that's a very fun game. Hard to get at the table though, because you really want the 6 players for it. All right. So that was my number 5. Your 5 and my 5. So now it's my number 4. Now my number 4, once again, is a. That's right, because you did 6 and then you did. Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
My number 4 is another GMT game.
All right.
Now, here's the dealio about this one. A lot of caveats here. I've only played it once, and I didn't even finish that game. But Cody, how could that be on your favorite? Well, because it is so massive. It is so big. I could barely fit it on the tables I had when I was in my apartment in Wyoming. I can't fit it on what I've got here. It's a solitaire game, and it is probably the most immersive solitaire experience I've ever played. And that is Mr. President from GMT. This is, like I say, is a solitaire game, and just holding the box. It is. In fact, I'm going to let you put it up there for a second because it's a pretty heavy box. That game has these massive boards that have different parts of the world because you're looking at foreign threats, but then you've got your own White House, your congressional relations, your press track. Then you actually have a board that actually has Congress and how they're voting and stuff on it and different things. And then other parts of the world too, like threat meters and stuff. Anyway, it's incredibly dense, and yet it's one of those games that when you read through the basic rules, it looks very overwhelming. You set up, it's very overwhelming. But you actually play the game, and it's pretty intuitive because you just take one step at a time. Now, there's a big, long track, and each space on the track you got to go through, and it takes a freaking while to get through each one of those. And by the time I think each time you get through it lasts a year, and I think I did 2 complete years of the game. So I did half of a 4-year term, right? A fourth of an 8-year term. But it is so incredibly immersive and fun and interesting, but it is intense. I mean, it takes a commitment to play that game. My only, yeah, what were you gonna say?
8 to 12 hours.
No. That's no. It took me 3 hours to set it up. 3 hours to set it up.
Wow.
I've had to play it over several nights just to get where I did, and I got to the point where I wanted my kitchen table back. Right. I think I played that. I want to say in March or something like that. Anyway, but it's like I say, it's a game that just has got so much going on, and your relations, like I say, with the Russians and the Chinese, and you're kind of competing for influence around the world with them, and you never know, these little wars can break out, and if ever there's like 5 wars on the board, you immediately lose, right? If ever your approval rating, I think, gets so low, you lose. There's all these ways to lose. If there's all these crises in America, you lose. But it's just brilliant. All the systems, how they interact. It's an achievement. That game is really an achievement because I can't even imagine the time it took to develop the thought process for it. I mentioned a rule book. This has, I'm not joking, I think about 9 books in it, because you've got books for different kinds of actions you can take. You've got books for specific incidents. You've got books specifically on China, books specifically on Russia, books specifically on like terror threats and stuff like that. And it's cool because it's like you go to that space on the track, and then you know kind of what book to go to, and you've got like 4 different. You've got you as the president, but then you got, I think, like 4 different cabinet members, like vice president, secretary of state, secretary of defense, and whatnot. And you do their actions, so you refer to their action books and see what you can do. My only complaint about this game, and it really is, I've heard it described this way, I described it this way, it's a presidential simulator, okay? My only regret is that it is specifically a solitaire game. I shouldn't say my only regret because it's so hard to set up and everything, but I wish that they actually made a version of it that was co-op, where people with you could take on the roles of Secretary of State, Secretary of Defense, and you could work together to solve these crises. I wish there was something, I guess you can game it that way, but I wish specifically it was gamed to be that way, set up to be that way. I really would have liked that. But as it is, like I say, it's an achievement. And I'm just so in awe of that game. And with all of that being said, it's very, very fun. It is very fun. I really enjoyed it while I had it. And it's one of those things, when am I going to play it again? I'm thinking probably not till next summer, if ever, in this place, because I don't think I got the room in my current apartment. Anyway, it's a great game.
Yeah, so to me, this seems like one of those games that would actually be really good to get 2 people to just kind of work together.
Yeah, probably.
And just, I mean, make your decisions, help do everything together on it.
Play it as a co-op.
Because it's kind of a like a 1+ players, and I don't know if they had that in mind. But
it's not really like the way, is that what they've got listed? There's 1+. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's that thing. It's a solitaire game, but you can play it as a co-op. I wish it was specifically designed, or there was a mode that was specifically designed as a co-op. To me, that would have been really cool. But anyway, really like that. That is what was that? My number 4. And that is from GMT Games once again. The great GMT Games. Thank you, sir. All right, now what is your number 4?
My number 4 is actually another one that you've already covered.
Okay.
This actually was your number 17.
Okay.
And this has got one of my favorite mechanics in board games.
What's that?
I've mentioned it a few times, but it is First in Flight.
Oh, yeah.
Since you already talked about it. No, First in Flight, I really like rondelles.
Yeah.
So, I mean, rondelles are just really, really fun. I've got a lot of games at home that utilize that mechanic. And especially if the rondelle can change. That'd be the one thing that would be neat in this one if the rondelle actually changed.
You mean like the action spaces changed?
Action spaces rotate around, but still, it's actually still a really good game. I like the pressure luck.
Yeah.
I've never been a big pressure luck fan in games, but in this, it just works.
Yeah, it does. It really does.
I was really worried about that when I first was reading the rules to play this game because I was thinking, oh, well, you fly your plane and it crashes, and then you fly your plane and it crashes, and well, it's not going to take you nothing to get there. And then I started playing it with you, and I'm like, oh, wait a minute, you always start from the beginning.
Yeah,
and it's got to. It's like, oh, hey, and that. So yeah, now you really want to build up, and you just
how you upgrade your plane to be able to do that is really fun.
Well, and the cool thing about it, and this is the one piece that I really like is if you do crash your plane, then you have to take those cards and you got to put them in your garage.
Yeah.
Okay. So next time you do a repair action, you can get rid of those. I mean, you put some minor injuries in, but if the option to fly comes back up again, you may want to take those cards in your garage, put them back in your deck, shuffle it back up, and we're just going to see if we can fly with those.
Yeah.
I mean, do you really want to do it? And do you really want to try to fly here, or do you want to wait and maybe fly later in the game, repair your plane, but then if somebody takes it, you can't do it?
Well, and what's cool, too, is all the little cards you get to assist you, because I know you had that one card that let you, because it's 4 damage cards, you're out, and you had that one thing that let you do 5.
Right.
And that was like a game changer.
Oh,
I mean, I see you put down 4, and I'm like, oh, you're like, no, I can keep going. But it's fun. But what I love too is how the push your luck works. Is it's not just you draw the cards; it's you draw the cards until you put your descend card down, and then you still have to play 2 more cards. So you can still end up crashing even on the descent, and it was so cool. Man, I love that game.
No, it was very well thought out. It was very well thought out. I'd like to see some more pilot cards and some. The decks to be just a little bit thicker because I know they got multiple versions of the same card, so you kind of saw the same cards come up all the time.
Yeah.
A lot, but it doesn't really deter from playing the game.
No,
because depends upon your player count, depends on what happens. If you're playing 2-player and you play with that third person, you don't know what space they're going to take. It still plays really, really good. Fantastic game from Artana.
It was really good, and like I said, my thing, it was a game they contacted me, asked me if I wanted to review it, and I was, okay. It didn't look like it was going to throw me, and it blew me away. It was so good, so good.
Yeah, this is one we got done playing, and I'm like, yes,
yeah.
I instantly liked this game. First play,
it was awesome.
Just really, really good.
All right, so that's from Artana. That's
number 4.
Number 4, First in Flight. All right, now what is your number 3?
My number 3 is another one that you've actually already covered, so I do not have the box over here. It was your number 24, but it was in fact Space Bees Apiary.
Oh, Apiary, yeah.
Oh my gosh, I absolutely loved Apiary. Like I said, I do some worker placement stuff. I like worker placement games, but this, to me, this is Stonemeyer's best game. Hands down, in my book, this is my favorite game from those guys. I'm really hit and miss on a lot of different types of games, just kind of the way I am. But Apiary it's got a worker placement mechanic where you can never get locked out.
Yeah,
and that to me is ultra cool. I mean, even if it was a mechanic to where somebody's there and I put more workers there, great, I like that. But you're not being locked out, so you can keep going and you can keep playing. It may help somebody else. You may want to take a spot, and you may want to put your B in that spot so you can upgrade your own self.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's so many different ways that you can go with this game. It is phenomenal. I mean, every station's got a little bit different thing. So it's asymmetric on who you're playing or what your station is. So, I mean, one person's going to, they're going to want to be getting a bunch of different tiles. Another person's going to want to be getting a bunch of different end-game scoring things. Or it's really good.
It is. It
really is.
It kind of, I like it because I feel like it does put a twist on worker placement where you're not locked out. Yeah. And when somebody wants that spot, it benefits you if you already have one there. I really like that quite a bit, system in there. I still think I like Expeditions better than that, which is from 2023. And just in Stonemaier, that might be my favorite Stonemaier game generally. Yeah. But this one's good. I got a kick out of this one. I think all of you guys probably liked it a little bit more than I do, but I still really enjoyed it. I got a kick out of it.
Top notch, man. I absolutely love this game.
Yeah, earlier, and you said, "Oh, it's not even close." I was thinking, "Oh, is Apiary not going to be on his list?" I can't imagine Apiary not being on his list because you
No,
freaking love that game.
oh no, yeah, this was, man. I was just in awe of this game as soon as we got done playing it. It was,
Yeah,
you get so much in this game. The tile stacks are ginormous.
yeah, you got a lot of
So,
content.
oh yeah, I mean, and they're all different. So
Yeah,
yeah, what you're
yeah,
gonna get and what you're gonna play, it's actually a really cool game. And if you're paying attention to other people, you may intentionally want to put take a space that you may not want to do because you know somebody else is going to take that, give you the advantage, and that's going to help you get a victory
right,
tile.
absolutely.
Oh yeah, so much thinking,
It,
really good.
it is. It's great, and like I say, for me, like the theme is so odd.
Yeah,
I mean, this is not a game I'd play for the theme. This is a game I would play, and maybe it's one of the reasons why it's not higher for me because I don't feel like you've got a good kind of the story it tells is not as strong as maybe I'd
yeah.
like it to be in some. But as far as worker placement games go, yeah, it's definitely up there.
This one I play more for the mechanics than the theme.
Yeah, yeah, I was gonna say, well, you'd have to because the
Yeah,
theme is so weird and it's not. I mean, it's not strong in the sense that it is telling those narrative stories.
yeah,
And you've got a spaceship bee that is shaped like a bee. It's like I say, we don't
yeah.
have spaceships made like humans.
Well, the cool thing about this though is that whole section of the board that bee's
Mm-hmm.
flying around.
Yeah,
I mean, you have all these different exploration tiles. So when it lands on it, you get to flip the tile over. You're going to get the benefit. You may choose what cube that goes on there, and those tiles just get better and better and better.
yeah,
So if
yeah.
somebody comes back around, well, they're going to get the same thing. So it's not like because you got there first, you get it, nobody else
That,
does. They actually get a better version if they go second.
and with a more powerful bee,
Yeah.
and that was probably my favorite part of the game was the exploration
Oh,
because that's
dude.
not something you're
Yeah.
really seeing a lot of worker placement,
Mm-mm.
and I really like that. I thought that was pretty
No,
cool.
that was actually really really cool.
Yeah.
I really like that.
All
But
right, so
yes,
that's Apiary. That is your number three.
3.
All
That
right,
is
that's
my
from
number 3.
Stone Mare Games. Now my number three. My number three is a game with a well-known IP that was when it was first announced. There was this little part of my brain saying, "Is it going to be good? I hope it's going to be good." The company has done some great stuff in the past. They don't do as much lately, so I was a little on edge, but I fell absolutely in love with a little game I like to call the Star Wars
Oh.
deck building game. Star Wars deck building game. This game is one of those games that it just like it has no right to be as good as it is. It is really really fun. This came out I think in March. I actually bought a copy of it, and Kim and I went to Hawaii for my birthday, and we took this with us. And so, like at night, before we were getting ready for bed and stuff, we play a few hands of this, and it was so much fun. And last time she was here, we were playing this a few times as well. It's just I love the system where the cards are out in the main row, and you can actually spend your attack to attack your enemy's base or capital ships, or you can actually attack the cards in the row, and then you get some kind of a benefit, but critically you deny it to them. In fact, I was playing a game the other night with Kim, and like right at the beginning of the game, Darth Vader comes out. So she's working to get Darth Vader, right? And I'm the rebels, and I was able to get enough points to zap him, and I got him out. She was so mad at that. Um, there are some notable omissions in characters from this game, like Yoda or Obi-Wan or the Emperor. So I'm really hoping they'll do an expansion, but they're doing the new card game.
Oh, the collectible card game.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I just hope this one doesn't get kind of tossed aside because I
Yeah.
really like. You've played this one, have you?
You and I play. Yeah. Yeah.
That's right.
Yep.
That's right. I
You
taught you how to
introduced it
play.
to me. It was
Yeah,
actually
yeah,
a
yeah.
good game.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite straight card deck building games. Really have a super lot of fun with it. So
Yeah, I think when you taught me this, you thought you had the game in the bag, and I think at the very last
yeah,
turn of the game, I played a card and took the win and
yeah,
called it good. And
yeah.
yeah, no, it was really fun. It was a different mechanic to where you had, what was it? You had like the starbase, and you had to kill it like 3 different times, or once it died, another one
You
came
get a
back
new
in.
yeah, you got 3 bases. You got to kill
Yeah,
three
you got
bases.
the 3. Yeah, and you keep pulling different bases out, and it was actually that was really unique. That was
Yeah,
really unique. I like that.
and I like how when you bring the bases in, they have all sorts of different abilities and stuff.
Yeah,
Like some of them can absorb 2 hits, or some of them allow you just to take a card from the lineup. Or
yeah.
yeah, anyway, really a lot of fun.
Mhm.
Super love Star Wars deck building game. Awesome game. That's from Fantasy Flight Games, and that is my number three. Number two. Let's take a look here at what people are saying here. Let's see. Dune is on the rise. You can play it co-op just by making decisions together. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about there as far as Mr. President goes. Um, Thank you for all the great content. Thank you, Evan. No Compass games on the list anywhere. No, they're not. I got to be honest with you. I have played relatively few Compass games. I think I played maybe 3 Compass games, and I like Compass games, but I can't afford Compass games, and they haven't sent anything to me, so I would review more in a heartbeat, but I haven't done that. Disappointment in the lack of apes and apiary. It is a fun game. Is that the B game? The B game, yeah, Space Bees. I'd rather be an actual Dune than play Dune the board game. And Mr. President turns just into fighting terrorists. Okay, Mo. All right, you're whatever, Mo. I'm not even reading any more stuff from you. Mr. President gets a lot of praise. Might have to check it out. Mr. President reminds me of that PC game that is a presidential simulator. Surprised this one is so high. Isn't it sort of built off of Star Realms mechanisms? People say that. People make a lot of comparisons between Star Wars and Star Realms, and the fact of the matter is, they're both science fiction games. They're both deck builders. They're both head-to-head deck builders. But I think they play in a lot of different ways, and the way you build combinations are quite different. When I first played it, I was a little disappointed because I was expecting it to be a little bit more like Star Realms in the way you build combinations. But it's different. You got to find the differences and the nuances, and so it's quite a bit different.
But then realistically, isn't Star Realms kind of like the DC deck building
yeah,
game? You got your cards in a row, and I think that was out first.
Oh, it was, yeah, for sure, for sure.
Yeah. It's kind of using that center row mechanic, and there's a lot of games that use that.
They do that,
mechanic.
yeah. So, but what's cool about this too, again, even opposed to Star Realms, is like I say, you can attack the cards in the lineup. Right. You can't do that in Star Realms.
Yeah, it's just a different mechanism on it. It's really good though.
Yeah, Star Wars. Let's see. My favorite pure deck builder is still Legendary Encounters and Alien deck building game. That is awesome. You haven't played Alien, have you? Legendary
no,
Encounters,
I have not.
That's a great game.
I haven't played any Legendary Encounters ones. Only just the core Legendary.
Oh well, we'll need to correct them. Star Wars is a bit too similar to Star Realms, though. Even though I prefer Star Wars theme, I wish it could have been more different. I don't know. I disagree. I think there's room on my table for both. You prefer Star Wars as 2 or 4 players game? I never played a 4-player, so I couldn't tell you about that. It hasn't dethroned for me yet. Tom retracted a message. Oh, just learned what a coin game is. Pendragon looks awesome but heavy. Yeah, I think I got Plantagenet. I don't have a Pendragon. That's actually one we need to hit some point. Plantagenet. Okay, moving on. So that was my number 3. My number 2. My number 2 is again a GMT game. Okay, this one is phenomenal. It is Prime Minister. I love Prime Minister. I played a 4-player game of this in Salt Lake. Got a few things wrong. We came up here. We played it a couple of times as a 2-player, and I liked it as a 2-player. It absolutely shines as a 4-player. You're in Victorian London, and essentially with 4 players, one of you is the Prime Minister, and the other one is the government backbencher. One of you is the opposition leader. One of you is the opposition backbencher. And the point of the game is you're trying to pass bills that your party wants passed. You started the game, like all 4 of you are working together at the start of the game. There's like a pact, like a coalition government kind of a thing. But you got to find out when to break that. And then the 2 parties have to work together. The Conservatives and Liberals, each of them have to work together amongst themselves. But only one person can win, because it's the winning condition is the first person to have 100 points while Prime Minister wins the game. And so you kind of have to work together to push your score up to 100, but only one of you can be there. Meanwhile, Queen Victoria, she likes to stick her nose into politics and interfere. You can create these minority governments. I know we played the scenario where I think it was like Irish home rule, or not home rule, but something about Ireland. And you were, I think Gladstone, and I was Disraeli. I
think so.
And there were specific conditions for that scenario, so it was a little bit different from the base game. But first of all, I love political games. I love games about politics. You saw that with Mr. President. I love games that have a political theme to it. 1960, The Making of a President. Have you ever played that with John Kennedy? And it's like Twilight Struggle kind of. Anyway. But this one is phenomenal. This one is just great. It is, if you like political games, you like the Victorian political stuff, it's just awesome. I can't say enough good about it. And I know you liked it, but I don't think you liked it as much as I did.
I only played it 2-player.
Yeah.
I thought it was okay 2-player.
Yeah.
I think this is definitely one that you need to be. It needs 4, I think.
Yeah.
And I think that's where this one's really going to shine.
I still enjoyed it 2-player. I still had fun with it.
Oh no, it was fun, but
yeah,
it wasn't that high up on my list.
Yeah. I love that idea of you need to cooperate with a teammate, but in the end you're not going to be cooperating. You're going to pull the knives out at some point. So I really, really love Prime Minister by GMT. Mwah. It's funny.
And turn it is what you're going to do at the end of the game.
You know what's funny is it too? I think in 2020 was the last time, or no, it was my games of 2020 or 2021. I can't remember, but I had my number 2 was Versailles 1919. This game kind of reminds me of Versailles 1919, which is another phenomenal GMT game. I might like this one a little better, but I don't know. We'll see.
I haven't played that one either.
Well, again, that's one ideally you want 3 or 4 for.
Yeah.
All right.
So many GMT games.
So that is my number 2, Prime Minister from GMT. Okay, what is your number 2?
My number 2 should not be any surprise to you at all what it is on a release from 2023.
All right.
It is a phenomenal game. I've always liked it every time I've played it. As a matter of fact, I've loved it. I've loved every version of it. I'm going to just steal any one of your versions right here. And we're just going to put, okay, you got a Marvel one up here somewhere.
Yeah, Marvel's on the top shelf there.
Oh, yeah, that's why I couldn't see it. So anyways, it's Marvel's Zombicide is going to be my number 2. I don't think I've ever played as much Zombicide as I have with you.
We played we played a ton in the last few months.
I think I played almost all of the expansions with you except for a couple of them.
Yeah.
And they were all so good. And the game just gets better. And honestly, the more we played it, because when we first played the first couple games, I was still really partial on my first and second edition of the game.
Yeah.
Because, I really like the items. I like that you got to go try to find and you're really trying to dig and look and see what you can get.
Right.
But you got to get those items. But then the more we played Marvel's Zombicide, the more I actually appreciated the fact that I'm pretty set on what I'm going to get.
Yeah.
And it's just how I'm going to be able to utilize my abilities.
Yeah.
I need to kill enough. I need to get my second and my third ability if possible, at least my fourth action.
Yeah.
And then go. And you don't have to worry about those items because after we played Marvel's Zombicide, I went back and I started playing my second edition a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I got murdered so many times because I could not find items that I needed.
Yeah.
To win the scenario. So that's a piece that they actually got rid of. And I now appreciate that a little bit more.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because I kind of felt the same way initially, but it's interesting too because I know in Deceased they're actually bringing back equipment, which I thought was kind of funny.
Interesting.
But yeah, in a way too, the bystanders kind of take the place of equipment.
They do
in this one. But Marvel Zombies was it was just phenomenal, and it came in October, and we played it a ton just since then. So
I think that's all we played for a few weeks. Is just
I had so many expansions I wanted to review.
Every time we got together, it was like, "What are we playing tonight?" Marvel Zombicide.
Yeah,
I'm like,
Marvel
right
Zombicide.
on. Let's bring it on.
I love that game.
So good.
So Marvel Zombicide. That's my
yes
expansion to Undead or Alive right there. But Marvel Zombicide is what we're talking about. Okay, so that's your number 2 from Simon. And then what's your number 1?
My number 1 game. You figured it out yet?
Okay,
should be easy.
All right
now.
All right,
absolutely be easy right now.
I should know this. Give me a hint.
It was your number 11.
Oh, really?
Plum Island Horror.
Plum Island Horror.
Hands down.
Really? This is your favorite?
This game. I will set this up on the table and I will play it the second we are done with this right here.
Oh my gosh.
I am in love with this game. I have not liked a GMT game more than I've liked this one. Now,
wow.
Hands up, I'm a super huge co-op game guy. I really like cooperative games.
Right.
And the way this one is done is just absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah.
It is incredibly phenomenal. The only thing about this game that I will say is I think it can be very swingy.
Yeah.
And the reason I say that is because when we played it as a 3-player game, and it didn't seem super hard.
Yeah.
It seemed like we won the game relatively easily. I went back even the next day and I read some more rules and everything else. So I thought we were actually doing some stuff wrong, which we weren't really. We were pretty much we actually made the game harder.
Oh,
is what we ended up doing. But what I discovered is that deck of event cards.
Yeah.
There are some nasty, nasty event cards in there that we never saw.
Oh,
And the other thing is we always kept two of the columns always clear of the horrors, so we didn't have to worry about those. And we kept drawing the same columns.
we kept drawing them. Yeah, yeah.
So they never came down. So it can be very swingy that way. But to me, just I really like how every faction is different.
Yeah.
Every faction wants to play, and there's 6 in the game. Everyone plays entirely different. You can play 2-player, which I think still would play really, really good. 3-player actually worked great.
Yeah, we played
and 4-player with the 4 players on the board, I think is great. I think this is a great game at every player count, and it's one that I just really want to get back to the table again and again and again.
It is just a delight. This is one that I heard a lot about. I saw it on the P500 and it just looked awesome. And then it's like every time I saw anything about it, it's like, oh my gosh, that looks good. Oh my gosh, that looks good. Oh, and I was so excited. And then I remember just here, a few weeks ago, about maybe a month ago or so, it arrived in the mail, and I was just ecstatic. I was like, finally, I get to play it. And then we played it the other night with a friend of ours, and it just was awesome.
Oh, I think we finished this game, and the first thing I was giddy.
Yeah,
I just.
Yeah.
Man.
It kind of, in a way, it kind of reminded me of Zombicide, the basic idea of it being horror and the monsters coming toward you and you have to get them. But there's more depth here, right? Zombicide's always pretty much a surface level dice chucker, and there's some of that in here, but it seems like there's a little more depth in what's going on with Plum Island. Mm-hmm. And I like too how your factions, you're not just playing one character. You've got, 5 characters on the board. So on your turn, you select which characters are going to activate and what they're going to do. And I love to, again, speaking of games that tell great stories, it feels like a comic book. It feels like, this like old school horror. And I love how the zombies, right? They're not minis. They're not even pictures of zombies. They're just these little cardboard shits that say horror, and it's just, it's so retro and so silly, and it's so fun, and it does tell great stories. There's different ports. Like you drew the one thing where you looked up and you saw a airplane and it crashed at the airport, and then we had a new thing of zombies pop up at the airport.
Yeah.
So stuff like that is just it's full of little narrative nuggets like that were so much fun.
Every card that you drew in this game, you wanted to read the narrative text.
Yeah,
it was hilarious.
It was, and
it was so, and that really made the game to me.
Yeah.
Dude, I think one of the cards that I pulled down, and the first thing it is, I read the card and I threw it to you, and I'm like, okay, here's your opening joke, because it was so bad.
Well, what's funny, because it's like sometimes with games, to keep the game moving, you don't get into the flavor text. And I remember years ago, I played a game of Eldritch Horror with 6 players, which is too many for Eldritch Horror. And we decided, okay, we're just going to skip past the flavor text. And a game like this is about the story. You know what I mean? And I wouldn't play a game like this without reading the flavor text. Now
they put that flavor text on there to me for a reason.
Yeah,
and it's just to help bring the story out.
Mm-hmm.
And again, in a game like this, you have to do it. But no. Oh my gosh. And the funny thing is over the last couple of weeks, I have seen more and more review places have this game, and they're like, oh, hey, cool, I got some GMT games, and oh my gosh, I got this one.
Yeah.
The buzz on this game is really good, and it is so good. It is so good. And if you like cooperative games, and especially if you play solo games, this is a phenomenal game solo.
Yeah.
So, and it's meatier than a lot of
if
other ones.
If there's any criticism I have, which is a very, very minor criticism, is I think it's a long game, and I don't think it's a game that's so long that it wears out its welcome, because right after the end we were into it, right? But ideally I would have liked it to be a little shorter, but that's it. That's the only criticism I've got.
I think with a couple plays, this would be a lot shorter.
You're probably right. If you get more into it and you understand it better, probably play a lot faster. Because we did stop and read rules.
The rules were, well, in typical GMT fashion, you have to read them a couple different times to really figure them out.
Yeah.
But no, it's just,
great game.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful game.
Yeah. All right, so that's your number one.
My number
Plum
one.
Island Horror from GMT Games. Okay, before we get to my number one, let's take a look here, see what people are saying. Okay, Zombicide is always fun. We had a great stand-up moment in a game where I was stuck in a room and utterly doomed with a horde outside of the room I was in. One locked out and crafted a Molotov. Yeah, that'll do it.
Yeah, I know the Molotov cocktail for Zombicide.
Took them all out. Everyone erupted in a cheer. That's fun stuff when you can do something like that in that game. I always enjoy lists that includes a variety of genres and complexity. I like both these lists and have a very good amount of variety. Definitely good variety. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Zombicide is great. I love it to death, but at some point I just had to stop buying them to make place for other games. It's just too much. I stopped at the space one, I think. Well, I know what you mean. I've got 2 shelves that are pretty much exclusively Zombicide, so I can hear you with that. Simon or Come On? I think it's supposed to be Come On. I think I've been corrected that it's Come On. Plum Island with a Bullet. This is spanky new. I love Dawn of the Zed, so I've got my eyes squarely fixed on this one. Yeah, Herman Lutman.
That's the one that I really want to play.
And I used to have it, and I gave it up, and I'm so sad. But oh well, what are you going to do?
Because of this game, I want to play Dawn of the Zed. I'm going to find that 3rd edition, and I want to play that. And I didn't even realize that solo game was that you talked about earlier was Herman Lutman.
Oh, the Viva l'Empereur?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, great game.
So I definitely want to check that out.
Yeah, if you
he's a fantastic designer.
Oh, no, he's great. He's great. He actually commented on my video last night and was very kind. Plum Island Horror keeps popping up. I'm thinking about ordering a copy. You should. Let's see. Where was I? Okay. Love Dawn of the Zeds. Got my eyes. Yeah, copy. This game will be out of stock in no time. There is already an expansion. Yeah, I saw that. They've already got an expansion for next year, 2025. Love the EC Comics cover. That game slaps. Expletive. Please post the percentage of your top 10s that were purchased by you personally versus how many were given to you as review copies. There feels like too much GMT in this set to be objective. Well, no, I'm not going to do that. You can look up the individual reviews and it says what they are. I'm not. I love GMT. I think GMT is a fantastic game company, and I'm being honest with you. They're not encouraging me to do anything. If tomorrow they stop sending me games, I would still say they're one of my favorite game companies out there. So you can take that however you want.
I don't own any GMT games, and they're becoming my favorite.
Yeah, exactly. They're so good.
The more GMT games I play, the more I like them. They're just they're phenomenal.
Yeah, he had never played a GMT game until I moved here about 6 months ago.
Twilight Struggle.
Twilight Struggle. He played Twilight Struggle.
Twilight Struggle.
But yeah, he's so.
And no,
there you go.
I like them.
The game is also full of in jokes. It is, yeah. Did you back Escape from Project Reese? I did not. Are you familiar with that one? I don't know what that one is.
Nope.
Yeah, Come On has changed how you say their company name a few times over the years. Yeah. I said I have to play Zombicide Painted, and I never end that painting. Yeah, I like to paint mine. I got a love for GMT games. Cody, a historian. GMT publishes a lot that are about history. I think that's overwhelmingly Factorin's choices. It might be, but Plum Island's not a history. And like Space Empires 4X is one of my favorite. They do some great science fiction games. But maybe there is something to that. I do love historical games, like the Prime Minister game. I don't know that I'd love that as much. Maybe if I wasn't grounded in the history, who knows? GMT is the new Avalon Hill. I think that's fair.
No, I would have to agree with that.
Are you sure Plum Island isn't history? Hope not. All right, let's do my number one. My number one. What is it? You know what it is.
Marvel Zombicide.
Marvel Zombicide. Yep. He knew what this was going to be. Now I
actually thought it was Prime Minister.
I'll tell you, I wrestled.
I really did.
But the fact of the matter is, and part of Prime Minister is, again, you want to play it for the best effect 4-player, and I've only had 1 4-player game of it. But this is great because I played it solo, I played it with 2 players, I played it with 3 players, I played it with 4 players, I played this with all sorts of player counts, and it's always great. It's always fun. This game tells a great story.
Oh, yeah.
Every game you play tells a great story. And what I love about, and first of all, I love Zombicide, period. Zombicide is just a great system. It's fun. It's a dice chucker. It's the ultimate here, let me put that up there. It's the ultimate turn your brain off and just enjoy game. But there's, again, they tell great stories, and I really like how you do unlock those powers and those abilities. And then you've got so many different characters you can play from. And the Marvel Zombies here this box represents just a part of it, because again, I've got the X-Men box, which allows you to play as the heroes battling the zombies. In this one, you are the zombies battling the shield agents, which is kind of a neat twist on Zombicide. And they play very differently. At least, here you've got the hunger track you got to watch. There you can power up and stuff like that. Anyway, they're great games. And then with I kickstarted the 2 core sets, and so I got all the what do you call them? The stretch goals. So I've got like a ton of characters. I actually just played it with some of the stretch goal characters the other day for the first time, and I played that, and then I've got come on, Asmodee actually sent me some of the expansions, and I reviewed the expansions, and they're just phenomenal. They're just phenomenal. I mean, I think speaking of great companies, I like Come On. I think Come On does some really fun stuff, and this is one of them. In fact, I bought the other day, and he just taught me how to play Cthulhu Death May Die the other night, and I fell in love with that game too. That's just a phenomenal game as well. But I mean, Marvel Zombies, it's the best version of Zombicide. I went it all in on Deceased based on how much I liked Marvel Zombies, And you got the core fudge?
Yeah, I've got the core for now. I don't know if I'll get much of the rest.
Yeah. But anyway, it's phenomenal. Mm-hmm. It's really good. Anything else you want to say about that one?
No, Marvel Zombies is really good with all of them. All the expansions are good, and every expansion. The cool thing about it is it adds something unique and different.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what was it? Was it the X-Men one that had the elevator?
Yeah.
That you had to bounce around.
No, that was the Fantastic Four.
Oh, the Fantastic Four. Yeah, it had the elevator that you had to move around, which was really unique and actually made the game kind of hard. But yeah, every one of the expansions really changed the way the game played.
The Red Skull, where he had the troopers that could shoot, the Hydra troopers that could shoot, and he comes last in priority order. And then with the Sinister Six, we played the team one, which is not my favorite way to play it, but I could see myself playing it once in a while. Right? Yeah. But anyway, it's all good stuff. It's all good stuff. All right, again, let's go ahead and take a look what we got here. GMT, are you sure? Sorry, Project Reese is the next episode in Stalingrad Z. Oh, is it? Oh, that's interesting. No, I haven't backed it. That'll be interesting, though. You haven't borrowed that yet. Stalingrad Z, Escape from Stalingrad Z. You said you wanted to borrow that one.
No, I really need to.
GMT uses that difficulty scale reminiscent of AH, yeah. And it's not always the most accurate on their difficulty scale for GMT. No. Are you going to do a top 10 most anticipated 2024 games? I was thinking no. In fact, I think in just a minute, I'd like to talk a little bit about that. Still have mine in Shrink. I really need to find the time to play it. Really, Marvel Zombicide won the entire thing. I don't know what I was expecting, but not that. I don't know. I love Zombicide. I love Zombicide. For me, it's between Prime Minister and John Company. Yeah, I heard John Company was great. I haven't played it, but I've heard that's a really good game too.
Yeah.
But Prime Minister is freaking awesome. Have you played Last Light? No, I want to. I was actually talking with Gray Fox. It's the Roy Canaday one.
Yeah.
I was actually talking with Gray Fox, and we're trying to get a copy to me to do a review, but I kind of couldn't meet the timeline, and I just said, you know what, I'll get it later. Don't worry about me. And I'm really excited to play it, but hopefully somewhere down the road I'll be able to make that happen because it looks phenomenal. It looks like I've heard nothing but good things about it. All right, so let me go ahead and ask you, what are you looking forward to in 2024?
2024?
We talked about the expansion to Heat.
I'm still looking for 2023 games that I want to play. Holy mac! I mean, Nucleum and Voidfall are
I've got Voidfall out there being unboxed. I started last night. I got tired and went to bed. About halfway through unboxing Voidfall, but we'll have to hit that one.
I wanted to hit that one before, but today I looked up a little bit more on it, and I did not realize it actually plays co-op.
Yeah.
Which that just totally
changes the idea.
Jumped that up as one of the highest games.
So we will definitely have to hit that one.
And Nucleum is the other one that I really
I've heard a lot about Nucleum. I don't know that I'm super excited to play that one.
Yeah, it's the worker placement style.
Yeah. Maybe. I mean, I'm sure I'd like it if I played it. I just don't know how invested I am to try to find a copy. Anything else though that you're looking at?
That's my 2023s that I'm still looking at wanting to play. 2024, I haven't really been paying that much attention to what's coming out.
Okay.
I don't really. I've never really been the guy that has to get the games as they first come out, so I don't really pay that much attention. Oh no, well actually, so I can tell you two things. Doom Patrol.
Okay.
I think Doom Patrol. I can't remember who's doing that, but I've been seeing some stuff popping up on that one. I looked at it, and that one, if I remember right, is some area control.
Okay.
That one looks really good, and the Shem Phillips gives Storm Raiders.
Okay.
Those are the two that I'm looking at the most.
Is that in like the Paladin series or
no? So Storm Raiders is actually really interesting because it's kind of post-apocalyptic and. So the way the map's set up and you have your car, I'm trying to remember off the top of my head how a lot of it is, but so you're trying to move around, trying to collect different. It's kind of a pick up and deliver game. But then you have also this like storm that's kind of running around, wreaking havoc on different things.
All right, that sounds cool.
I just discovered it probably about a week and a half ago. And
Okay.
I think the Kickstarter actually started on it, but I need to look at it a little bit more. But it looked really, really good.
Okay, that
Really,
sounds
really good.
cool.
It looks like it was something totally in my wheelhouse.
That's good. I know I'm looking forward to. Of course, first of all, let's start with GMT. They've got uh, Bell of Treason, which is I think one of their like lunchtime area control games. That's about the Munich crisis in 1938. I thought looked pretty fun, and they've got like a Napoleon um, solitaire game, and I can't remember the name of it, but that one looked pretty good.
Oh, I think I saw that one today.
And
They have that Robin Hood one, that coin.
yeah, the Coin Robin Hood one looks good, and they've got a World War One game too. I can't remember the name of it either. I can't remember. It's terrible, but it looks like it's a pretty decent, relatively easy to get into, but with deep strategy game, World War One game. So
2024. Yeah, World Spanner Factions.
World Spanner Factions is coming out this year.
That's actually just. I think everything's been submitted to manufacturing. I think that's actually Brett's working on trying to having that delivered this year.
That's awesome. So if you don't know World Spanner Factions, it's the reimplementation of Duel of Ages 2. And full disclosure, we're friends with Brett, who designed it. He lives here in Boise. Played some games with him. I have. You've known him for years.
Yep, I played one for years.
And I actually did a paid preview of World Spanner Factions a few months ago, and it's a great game. It's a great game.
I paid full retail price for all my copies of Duel of Ages 2 because he wouldn't give them to me free, and
Well,
I still have it as my number one game.
I don't have a copy.
Yeah,
so,
no,
but
it's really good.
it's good. I actually should get one with the Kickstarter, but I'm excited. That one's definitely gonna be fun. And then Renegade. Let me take a minute to talk about Renegade. First of all, so we played here a little while ago. We played the GI Joe deck building game campaign, the Raise the Flag campaign for the GI Joe, and that was awesome. That was, I mean, if that were a game in and of itself, that would have been on this list for sure. It was just one of the best campaign games I've ever played, in my opinion. I really had a lot of fun. I love that game, the GI Joe deck building game. They've got a new expansion coming out for GI Joe deck building that I'm looking forward to. And critically, they're really going hog wild with Axis and Allies.
Yeah, they are.
Because they're of course going to do the reprints of like the Anniversary and Guadalcanal, but they're coming out with a brand new North Africa version of the game, which looks freaking awesome. They're coming out with again a GI Joe version of Axis and Allies, which I think looks fantastic. Oh wow, Simon, thank you so much, sir, for the super thanks. Appreciate that. That's very kind of you. But they're coming out with a GI Joe version of the game, which looks phenomenal. I mean, a GI Joe Axis and Allies. That's I'm really cool. I really like that. But I like too, because one of my criticisms when I reviewed their recent Axis and Allies releases was they just had the tracker. They didn't have money. They're coming out with chips. They're coming out with Axis and Allies IPC chips to use in your Axis and Allies game. So I'm really looking forward to that too. And I think some special dice as well. They're going hog wild there with that as well. Deceased. I think Deceased isn't until 2025. So
I think so.
That's pretty sad about that. I'm trying to think what else is coming out that I'm trying to remember right now that I can't. Oh! Dave Phillips has got that. It's like War Stories. It's like it's like I want to say it's like French Resistance or something like that, but it's almost like a story game. I don't know too much about it, but it freaking looks awesome. World War II, and then he's working with Elizabeth Davidson to do Night Witches, which was about the Soviet female pilots that were fighting the Germans at night in the war, because they were women, so they gave them just these old crappy airplanes, and so they could only fight the Germans at night, but they just terrorized the Germans. And anyway, that looks like that's gonna be a really fun.
That sounds cool.
Yeah, really really fun game as well. Anyway, anything else? All right, I think we're good. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining. Let me just check this here real quick. Guest of Robin Hood, cool title. Yeah. Chip Theory's Elder Scrolls. Okay.
Oh, I backed that one. Yeah.
Yeah, did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I am a
huge... Have you backed anything else coming out this year? Do you know?
Not that I can remember.
Okay.
Not that I can remember.
Kabuki Kid liked Last Light. I want GMT to finally get around to Crusades expansion for Medieval Commands and Colors. That'd be awesome. I love many of his games, but being an only play after your kids sleep can't use some of those long setup jewels you have. Yeah, I can imagine that's a problem. Looking forward to Adria, the adventure fantasy game by Cody Miller. Oh yeah. In fact, so I didn't back that, but I actually backed Zaya through that campaign because I want to get Zaya back into my collection.
Oh,
Yeah,
has that actually been released yet? No.
well, the campaign ended a while ago.
Right, but have people
I
actually?
don't think the game. I don't think the game's
Okay.
out yet. No.
Yeah, I didn't back the campaign, but I've been waiting for that one to come out because that just looks
Yeah,
really, really
it
good.
did look good, but it was like I could get that or Zaya. I wanted Zaya back in my collection. Let's see. I'd give up anything for a new 2024. I'd give up buying anything for new for 2024 if I could just play War Room a few times this year. War Room is the best. Favorite game of all time. I hear you, man. Guess the Robin Hood and I Napoleon. Is I Napoleon White Dog or is that the one I'm thinking of for GMT? I can't remember. Robin Hood, I Napoleon, my most anticipated. The new Death May Die from Come On. We got a new.
Oh, is that supposed to be out this year?
I don't know.
I've got season 3 and 4. I
backed everything.
All in.
I think I'm gonna pick up season 2 as soon as I can.
Yeah,
if I can find it.
I think that was like my number 3 of all time.
Yeah, Sonic Hog backed World Spanner based on my preview. Thank you very much. I think you'll enjoy it.
Fantastic game.
Let's see. I bought ANA IPC chips from a third-party guy several years back. They were pricey but excellent. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing what Renegade does with them. Cody, quick thoughts on Columbia block games. I'll have to see if you've reviewed any. Yes, in fact, I just put out like 2 weeks ago my top 10 favorite block war games, and Columbia's really on there. They're great. They've actually just sent me a new copy of a game that I love that I will hopefully review before too long. Looking forward to that. But Columbia does some excellent stuff. Love Columbia games. What can I say? Cody does the good work. Again, thank you, sir. Thank you, Simon. Good vid. Thank you. All right, we are out of time now. We're actually have gone a lot longer than I thought we would. So anyway, thank you so much for joining us, and we will talk to you next time. I don't know when we'll do another live one. Hopefully before too long. I'd like to play some more games live.
Oh yeah.
In fact, let me know what games would you like to see me that I've reviewed that we could play live sometime. I'd love to know what that is. But anyway, I got to come over here and turn off the old system. So you have a great night. Bye-bye.
See you guys.